Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Central Goat, Duncan, OK Computer, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So welcome, one and all.
Good morning, folks.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Good to have you all.
How are you?
I'm very well. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement, like for latitude, describing how many degrees you are with respect to a flat plane and things like that? Any evidence you can acquire that elevation angle measurement from a curved surface?
No. And that's why I'm getting annoyed, because they're telling us about degrees and angles, but I want them to do it on their freaking sphere, not on the flat Earth.
Oh, they can't. To get down to Antarctica, they must require a flat Earth and elevation angles to have been derived to create the globe model, to then project it back out onto a cylinder and then roll it out flat to actually have it be useful and usable with the angles to the stars that are used to navigate their way down to Antarctica when they assume antipodal positioning.
So then what's the point in the trip then?
There isn't one. The point of the trip is to say, look, these flat earthers are quite happy to beg the question of antipodal positioning. And if they are happy for us to say, I'm on a globe if I'm in Antarctica, and if we show something that doesn't work on Dave Weiss's globe projection equals a flat Earth model, then Earth's a globe. Now, Brian pointed it out quite beautifully yesterday. It doesn't prove or disprove flat. It doesn't prove globe, because the globe has come from measurements of a flat plane to infer it mathematically. What it does do is debunk the reification of a globe by way of assumption that you will see, and must see, the sun above the horizon for 24 hours in the Antarctic summer, winter, in the north. Now that antipodal assumption can only be broken. It can't prove a globe, it can't disprove a flat Earth, and it cannot prove a flat Earth either. If it did happen to match Dave Weiss's globe projection passed off fraudulently as a flat Earth model, which it is not, then all it would do is affirm that the model's a reasonable match for something we have no idea about, which is the sun. We know where it is in respect to its ground position when measured flat. That's what use we have got out of it so far. Where it is above at a given time is useful for a system. Time! That's it. All flat Earth measurements. None of the actual process is being detailed beyond, for Dave McKeegan, the assumption of sphericity when arriving in Antarctica. Dave's the first to have said it. He said it in the pre-show. If you want to hear the preamble for this coverage of Dave McKeegan's very boring, very tedious, affirming the consequent, begging the question, false dichotomy fallacy that is Antarctica and his trip down there, then you'll have to become a member and watch it in the pre-show. We will continue to cover it throughout this live show, and it is very, very tedious.
Script that Will's just throwing together, where we're just going to get dumped in the middle of nowhere by ourselves.
Currently, he's questioning whether or not he's going to arrive in the place on the map that they negotiated flat to get there. He's saying, well, we won't even know if we're in Antarctica, given that we've paid 40 grand to get to Antarctica and used flat maps and flat methods and flat systems to get here. It's whether or not we're in Antarctica that matters. No, it's whether or not you've traversed a ball and arrived antipodal that matters in this particular setting.
Will is actually just buying tickets for an annual excursion to Antarctica, which is organised by a company called ALE, or Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. They have their own planes which fly from Punta Arenas in...
Yeah, so it's a logistics company. So primarily what they're involved in is the logistics of moving stuff from A to B. So Brian's request for pitch data is absolutely valid. Yeah, that's what we're going to need. Because that is assumed by you currently, that when you take off in this aeroplane, you're going to somehow arrive on the bottom of a ball. Well, we're going to need to validate that, and Brian's asking for pitch data. So he better give it us. Otherwise, it's a completely pointless exercise.
Southern Chile, and the expedition that will be on stays at their camp in Union Glacier, which is around 80 degrees south.
Right, degrees? What, like an angle measurement off a flat Earth, Dave? No triangles on a ball, remember, Dave? Yeah? You can't get elevation angles on a ball, Dave. You made it explicitly clear. So what, you're just going to use a little bit of flat Earth to decide whether or not you're in Antarctica? Yeah, you will, yeah. Obviously, when you're assessing whether or not you're in antipodal positioning, won't be assessed when you're describing angles off a plane.
Latitude. We'll be there from...
Sorry, latitude, Dave? What, the one you can't get on a ball, Dave? The one that's measured flat with angles, Dave? Yeah.
From the 14th to the 18th of December. So the first step for me will obviously be getting from the UK to Punta Arenas.
On a flat map. With a straight line on a flat map, Dave. Sorry, why is it that we're using this? Is it just me, or is this exactly as I just described with respect to the Mercator projection? I described how you'd measure latitude lines, put them on a ball, project them onto a cylinder, and then roll them out flat to get there. And what do you know? Dave's shown us exactly that. Why aren't we showing this on a ball, Dave? Why are we viewing a Mercator projection? What's going on?
From the UK to Punta Arenas.
On a flat map. Okay, game over. You're not negotiating a ball to get there. That's it. You've negotiated it flat.
To meet up with ALE. However, there are no direct flights for that. All the flights that I've seen so far fly from the UK to Chile's major airport in Santiago and would then require a short connection flight to Punta Arenas.
Who cares? All we need is the pitch data. That's it.
Before heading to Antarctica, and then doing the whole thing again in reverse for getting home. And ALE suggests that we book our personal flights to and from Chile to be 2 to 3 days either side of the expedition date, just to avoid any risks of potentially missing flights. So that...
Why would they potentially miss flights? Aren't they running the plane? Okay, fine. 40 grand? You want me to have a 3-day connection either side? What?
That would mean arriving and staying in Chile 2 days before and after the flights.
Wow, that's amazing. You really good job you clarified that for us.
To and from Antarctica. So we'd be in no doubt that we will be setting off with ALE from southern Chile. Now, a compass on the plane will tell us if we're
using it with respect to a flat plane. That's how compasses work. So again, we're going to use a flat Earth tool. Okay, well, that's the end of it. You're using a flat Earth tool for direction.
Flying south.
South with respect to a plane. Yeah, not south on a ball. It doesn't work that way. Yeah? It would work from hell on a plane to describe it with respect to a ball. You utilise the Mercator projection for that very purpose.
But there's nowhere other than Antarctica.
Here we go. Flat map. Flat Earth. What's this grid, Dave? Because we can't get the triangles off the ball, can we, Dave? How'd you get this grid? You measured it flat. And that's how you're going to be negotiating your way down there. It's game over. It's already done. Yeah? You're using a grid system and describing angles for positional data that can only work on a flat Earth. So before you've set off, you've proved it's flat already, Dave. Well done.
Near southern Chile that is completely snow and ice. The nearest other possibility that I can think of would be Greenland, and that's 8,000 miles to the north.
With respect to a plane? Yeah?
Getting there would involve roughly
It would involve negotiating a flat Earth and dealing with grid lines on maps that are measured with respect to angles to stars off a flat Earth. That's what it would involve. You just need a little bit of flat Earth to get you there, right? Then you can start tossing up in the air your two models in full dichotomy. So long as you got there with respect to a plane, you and your tossers can figure that out, can you, when you're there? So long as you're there saying, well, I'm assuming I'm on the bottom of a ball right now. I mean, it's been negotiated flat when we got here, but now we're here, I'm on the bottom of a ball.
a 14.5-hour flight that would go over the whole of South America and the North Atlantic without any of us actually noticing, and then arriving in Greenland in December.
Thought Eli was about to join, and he's just dropped immediately before I could let him in. Oh well.
When it's mostly in darkness due to that being the winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Some people have then argued that a 24-hour sun wouldn't actually prove anything because we can't freely explore Antarctica.
No, because the claim that it will prove something comes with a begging the question fallacy attached, antipodal assumption, and an ignorance of all of the flat Earth prerequisites you've just gone through.
Except you wouldn't need to. There is no location that far south on a flat Earth.
So you mean on Dave's fraudulent globe projection? Anybody else here claiming an azimuthal equidistant map is actually a flat Earth map as opposed to a globe projection? Does anybody else here feel that it's reasonable that this is being represented as a flat Earth map when it isn't? Anybody?
Not at all.
Nobody's agreeing with this. Literally nobody stands by this false dichotomy here. Nobody.
Which would allow for the sun to have its ground position.
If you've got 3 million subscribers and you say something on your channel that's wrong, illegal, or immoral, do all 3 million subscribers suddenly have that brush tarred on them because they're subscribed to you? That would be a consensus fallacy. So, when an individual who runs a channel that's very popular does something wrong, for example, Dr. Disrespect, chatting up children, well, that is him as an individual, and his subscriber base have got absolutely nothing to do with that. So, I would imagine that were his subscriber base to be quizzed on whether or not they should be involved in his horrible, horrible behaviour, they would say, no, that's absolutely not, it's him as an individual. But what these guys, these cretins, Will Duffy included, have done is taken individuals with large subscriber counts and gone because they've got large subscriber counts, that means that one man's word, Dave Weiss or Jaron, or that pastor that he used at the beginning of the video, whose name I forget, they are representative of... Dean Odell, yes. Are representative of all of their subscriber base. Why? I mean, I've just done a straw poll, probably bigger than you've done when you've asked one man or taken clips cherry-picked from one man on one channel that happens to have a lot of subscribers. But here and now, I've asked a whole bunch of flat earthers if anybody buys this, and literally not one does. So can we take it as read that this is a fine false dichotomy and a fine flat earth map that we're all behind? When one true earther who says it could be a big ball, shocking that Dave Weiss would be behind this in his app, when he's telling the audiences on his tour that it could be a big ball. Not a flat earther, true earther. This is crap. This doesn't represent us. It's not a flat earth map.
North of the observer, and yet appear in the south. Roaming around Antarctica is not going to change that. As long as there is one location in Antarctica that has a full 24-hour sun doing a 360-degree loop around us, that completely goes against the flat Earth concept.
It goes against the azimuthal equidistant globe projection. That's what you just had on screen. You're a liar, Dave. You're a scumbag. Why are you telling us that this is a flat Earth map, you liar? Please let Dave McKeegan know. You've been called out as a liar. You're telling your audience that you're going down there to compare in false dichotomy flat Earth versus globe, and then you keep putting globe projections up. You're a liar. Yeah? You're misrepresenting us. It's fraud. And I'm tired of it. Yeah? Nobody's asking me. They're ignoring me. Will Duffy hasn't given me the independent and dependent variable for his experiment when he contacted me personally. I responded and asked him for him. He didn't give him me. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Meanwhile, I've got to just swallow that this globe projection, if it fails, means it's not flat. No. We're just dealing with liars like Dave who say they've got a flat Earth map to represent us, and they haven't. He's a liar. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me to call out you on your lies. Where's the flat Earth map that you said you're taking down there? Now, you seem to be using flat Earth concepts that can only be measured flat on globe projections. But the measurements they utilise prove it's flat, regardless of the distortions. But if you're going to suggest that you're going down with a false dichotomy flat Earth map in quotes, it better be one, you bleeding liar.
Concept. I've even seen people suggest that the sun appearing...
It's like saying, I'm going to race Ford versus Chevy. And what I'm going to put on the track is a Chevy and a Chevy. And I'm going to put a Ford wrap on it and tell you that it's your Ford that we're racing. Hang on a second, underneath this wrap, it's a Chevy. It's just a Chevy versus a Chevy. Where's the Ford? Oh, well, this globe projection Chevy is basically a Ford. No, it's a Chevy. Where's the Ford? We're going to need a flat Earth map. Yeah? If you're saying it, Dave, because now your credibility's on the line, I'm calling you out as a scumbag fraud liar. You're going to go down there and represent us. You better have a flat Earth map. Get one. Get one from Dave. If this is what you got from him, flat Earth Dave, then Dave's part of the fraud too. He's fraudulently misrepresenting a globe projection as a flat Earth map. And I'm not having it. These people are frauds. They're scamming you. It's fraud.
in the south
Nathan, just so
could
you
be
know,
a
they
reflection.
have provided a hypothesis now. Where's Wally? Is that correct, Neil, in the after show?
Where's Wally?
After show last night.
Sorry, where's Duffy? Is it Where's Duffy that's provided it? Yeah, he did that in my comments. After I asked Will Duffy, Where's Wally came along and offered me one instead of Will Duffy. Thank you for reminding me. Your name's not Will Duffy. You're not spending 40 grand on other people to go down there. Where's Wally? You are a nobody. You think I'll give a toss what your hypothesis is? Well, then spend 40 grand, go down there, and I'll give a toss what you say about it. Meanwhile, you've given me that under Will Duffy's questioning of it. I asked Will Duffy for that. You replied. What are you, his bleeding secretary? Why is Where's Wally responding when I ask Will Duffy for a hypothesis? Is that how it works over there on the Globe side? Is Where's Wally your secretary, Duffy? Seems to be speaking for you. I asked you for a hypothesis. It's been made blatantly public. Everybody's aware of what I've asked you for. So much so that your own side are having to come to your defence and white knight for you. In the absence of hypothesis that you haven't given me, Duffy. Yeah? Shall I take Wally's hypothesis, Duffy? Is he your secretary? Because it's pretty obvious to all of your comprades that I'm asking for this and you haven't given it us. They're fighting and scrambling to give it me, mate. Yeah, Wally's keen, but Duffy isn't. How telling is that? Very. Thanks, Wally. Yeah, nice little reminder that you're keen to give us a hypothesis. Right, son?
Reflection off the firmament. Well, reflections create mirror images. So to check...
Can't have that on a ball. I'm supposed to get a mirror image of anything that isn't flat.
For this, I'll be taking along a telephoto lens and a strong ND filter.
Because... yeah, you'll get to know what the sun does in Antarctica. You already told us. Oh, yeah, you'll be assuming you're on the bottom of a ball like you already told us. So what? You don't need anything. You just need to go down there and go, yeah, I definitely did do that. Okay? So it's still a your model that you can reify. You're still okay to reify it. by antipodal assumption. Okay, well done, lads. What's that? You got some really good pictures of it too. Oh, wow. It'd be nice to have the pitch data and you not using flat Earth angles to get down there. Yeah? Not, oh, well, I'll use a flat Earth and a flat Earth grid system that's measured flat with angles that can only come off of a flat surface because they're triangles that won't work on a globe, says Dave.
This will allow me to cut out all of the glare and see the sunspots. This way
we can see sunspots that we could see from anywhere.
We can compare the orientation of the spots whilst the sun is in the north versus the south to see if they are being flipped at all.
Because when you turn around and look at something from a different orientation, the orientation changes. Well, that's fascinating. Wow.
Or if they shift at any point during the day.
Or wouldn't it be better to go and confirm that you're actually on a ball? Or are you just good with just assuming that before you set off? Oh, my bad. We already know. You did tell us, Dave. Thanks. No one else has actually verbalised that yet. But yeah, you're all cool just assuming the very thing you're trying to prove before you set off. Because you're there representing, right, Dave? You clown. Yeah? You people are thick. Not spotting this makes you stupid. Being there to, quote, represent just means you're a stooge for Duffy to beg the question for him. You are there as Mr. Assumption. That's your place there, Dave. Used and abused for being stupid, not recognising the fallacious logic being employed when you, as a stooge, say, I'm all good assuming I'm on the bottom of a ball when I arrive, having measured it flat and openly told audiences that these angle descriptions, these triangles, can't work on a globe. So you're getting down there flat as a stooge to assume it's a ball for the person who's claiming it's an experiment, who can't answer any questions, but white knights have to do it for him. This is pathetic.
This will also open up the possibility for other people in different parts of the world to do the same thing and compare how the spots appear in different parts of the world.
Really? See, when I did it with solar noon and sunrise and sunset, like 90 degrees to your position and solar zenith. And I tracked the sun over 2 24-hour periods via a hangout. What you're inviting, well, you could do it too. Well, how are you going to know it's done at the exact same time? Unless you do it live like I did it when I tracked the sun. I mean, even then, when I had absolutely no clue what I was doing, I had a better methodology than these numpties.
I.e., if someone in North America and someone in Australia view the...
When we tracked the sun, I absolutely unequivocally made no claims whatsoever that it would prove a flat Earth. We just wanted to know what the sun did. We tracked it on a globe projection, the azimuthal equidistant projection, otherwise known as the as-it-is map. But it wasn't proving or disproving anything. Now, why is it that when we track the sun, we go, that's interesting, let's see where it is on the map, and whether or not its GP position matches where they say it does on the map? That was our purpose in doing it. No one was going, if we see a 24-hour sun in the north, it proves a flat Earth. No, because we're not that stupid. We just wanted to know what the sun was doing and start tallying it up with what the maps say. And we found that they were wrong. We've already invalidated the maps you're using 10 years ago. 10 years ago! We invalidated this global projection. 10 years! You're still using it? You'd think, given that you're going to go and look at a 24-hour sun, that you'd have investigated what we already acquired in respect to a 24-hour sun. We've already done it! Did you not look at any of that stuff? Did you not see the value when we did it 10 years ago? Didn't even need to leave my armchair. Didn't need to go anywhere to capture it. Yeah? Because everyone's got internet like they have now in Antarctica to send TikTok videos to everyone with. They've obviously got internet down there. So why haven't we got it already? Why have we just got edited videos? Well, because we need Dave the Clown to affirm the consequent by being the stooge that assumes we're antipodal when we arrive there. That's what we're doing. This is sad. Very sad. You're going to need a better map. Like I've said, you've got requests coming in thick and fast. We're going to need pitch data for the logistics of getting there. And we're going to need a different map. If you're going to hold this up in false dichotomy, I mean, obviously, even if you did get a better map, we'd be pointing out it's false dichotomy still. Nevertheless, This is an outrage. You're using a debunked globe projection. How is it debunked? By tracking the sun! So you better pay attention. We've already tracked the sun. We've seen it above the horizon for 24 hours. We've seen it. We've done it. We did it 10 years ago. So prick your ears up. Why aren't you taking into account any of this? No, the map that's been debunked based on sun positional data by us is still being used. So it's a globe projection that's debunked and you're still using it for sun tracking when we used it for sun tracking and debunked it with it. No, this is definitely not going to fly. Definitely flawed.
Sunspots around the same time. On a globe, we'd expect to see the spots in North America rotated around.
Right, on a globe. So when Stooge Dave assumes the antipodal positioning he's purposed and tasked in assuming, then you're assuming antipodal positioning. That's the thing you're trying to prove. You're begging the question. It invalidates the entire process. You're supposed to be proving it, not assuming it, Dave. Do you not understand good logic? Obviously not.
Around 180 degrees compared to those viewing in the southern hemisphere. Similar to how
A southern hemisphere, as in the assumption of antipodal positioning. Yeah, this is where you're coming into your own, Dave, as a stooge, to beg the question on Duffy's behalf. Well done, useful idiot. Good job.
the moon's orientation changes. Now, clouds could potentially obscure the views of the sunspots. However, if this does happen, even with moderate cloud, this ND filter will still allow us to get a clear view of the sun itself, so we can observe if its size changes at any point whilst in different directions.
Who cares? What will that prove? Or disprove? Oh no, we're into a new fallacy. Dave's making it up as he goes along.
On a flat Earth, we'd expect the size of the sun to vary.
And there it is. A new false dichotomy invented on the fly by Dave about the size of the sun. In false dichotomy, your model versus our model, we have been asking for about 6 years for evidence of the distance to the sun. Now, these things are not proven. We don't know what it is. But Dave's got it back stacked up in a nice packaged up false dichotomy with a model that's been debunked that Dave says the sun moves over.
Vary as it moves towards and away from us, whereas on a globe we'd expect
you two beg the question that we're antipodal in this false dichotomy. This is the real trick that's being employed here. If you don't notice that, oh, it's perfectly fair because it's your model versus me assuming antipodal positioning, therefore fair. No, that's a false dichotomy. It's an affirming the consequent fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If I assume antipodal positioning like Dave is there to do as the stooge is, then we will observe 24-hour sun in Antarctica. We observe 24-hour sun in Antarctica, therefore Dave's purpose of being a stooge to assume antipodal positioning and simultaneously detail the flat Earth elevation angle measurements and positioning data that he uses to get there is going to be confirmed, and therefore it's been a fair crack of the whip for the flat Earth. We put your model up that Dave says is true, even though it's a globe projection that's been debunked 10 years ago. Therefore, you got a fair crack of the whip. Our antipodal assumption stands true. This is your standards, Globe. This'll do it for you, won't it, Dave?
to remain a pretty consistent size throughout the day. There has obviously also been suggestions that any videos that we do take and present showing a 24-hour sun will have been faked in some way.
Shouldn't give a crap. Don't care if you see it either way. We need good logic behind it. We need data that shows that you've actually traversed a spherical surface to arrive antipodal when you assume it, Dave, as a stooge. Now, you don't know your position in this little stooge charade, but I do, because I can unpack the fallacy, therefore figure out where you sit in it. You're sat in this fallacy to beg the question of antipodal assumptions. That's what your job is, Dave. All you need to do is go, yeah, I assume that I'm on the bottom of the globe that the Twiangles won't work on. That's all you got to do, Dave. That's your place in this. Know your place, Dumbo.
Wait. Some have obviously said CGI. Others have even suggested that
Some have suggested we couldn't give a crap. Like, we'll just claim it's a Chinook helicopter, 2 sun systems, or individualistic sun for Antarctica. I mean, we're not confirming that by seeing a 24-hour sun, but we can beg the question and affirm the consequent too. We can make up all sorts. I did it with penguins earlier, didn't I, Dave?
Just record a 24-hour sun in advance from the northern hemisphere.
Already done it. Yeah, I didn't suggest in any way, shape or form it proved or disproved anything. What it did actually disprove, not that we knew it would do this when we were taking part in it, was the map that you're using, the azimuthal equidistant projection, does not match with the sun's GP positions. I can confirm that. We confirmed it twice.
I.e. that right about now, someone is taking footage of the 24-hour sun in the Arctic.
What, like we did a 10-year period ago? Yeah, we did. We couldn't extrapolate any flat earth proof, or I wouldn't have continued for 10 years. I'd have drawn the line there. If it proved anything, it didn't. But what, 10 years down the line it does? For the south? Hold on, 24-hour sun doesn't prove anything. How does it suddenly prove it if we go south? Oh, because Dave the Stooge assumes we're on the bottom of a ball when we get there.
And that will then apparently try and pass that off as the footage from Antarctica.
No, I'm not saying you're trying to pass anything off, Dave.
So to combat that, I've had a few ideas. Red's rhetoric.
So to overcome this straw man I've invented, I've come up with some ideas. Well, good for you, Dave. You don't seem to understand your place. You just need to be the stooge that says, yes, I assume I'm on the bottom of a ball. I assume the outcome we're trying to prove before we set off. That's all you need to do, bless your little cotton socks. Do you not know your stooge position in this fallacy? You just need to say, yes, I assume I'm on the bottom of a ball when we arrive. I'm already dangling on the bottom of it. Now let's start looking at stuff. Oh, look, there's the penguins I needed to see to affirm that I'm on the bottom of a ball, I've assumed. So therefore, if P, antipodal assumption, then Q, penguins. And there are the penguins, we've seen them. Therefore, my antipodal assumption, stooge position, is validated. Because of the penguins.
Rick has suggested taking an Insta360 camera, which will allow for a single 360-degree view to be captured so we can see everything in all directions.
Because that will affirm the consequent of antipodal positioning, will it? Will a 360 camera validate the antipodal assumption that you're there to stooge for? I'm thinking no, Dave. What I like about this is somebody recognises what useful idiots the people taking part in, like they did with Netflix. They assessed all the individuals and went, who is the most useful of these idiots? Well, Jaren is. Well, Bob is. Well, Dave McKeegan is. These are very useful idiots. Now, they don't know they're a useful idiot when they make the antipodal assumption needed to be made by Duffy. That I'll point this out. Duffy hasn't said it yet. I asked him for his hypothesis, knowing, like I got from Wally, that actually it's an affirming the consequent fallacy and not a hypothesis. But the useful idiots don't recognise that. That's why they use them. You, Dave, are useful to beg the question of the very thing you're trying to prove. That's all you need to do, bless your little cotton socks. You're a useful idiot.
I also plan on setting up at some point another camera that would have a view of the 360 camera.
Wow. I suggest, now it's just an idea, maybe a third camera? Maybe a camera that's 360 and a camera filming the 360 camera, but also a third camera filming your dumbass while you make an antipodal assumption.
So that we can be seen being near the 360 camera.
Begging the question of being antipodal. Right, I've had enough of that. I'm bored. It was tedious, as was suggested. We've covered it for at least a good enough period for people to get the idea of what's actually taking part. We don't need any more of Dave McKeegan's boring video unless someone says there's something really groundbreaking in the second half of his video. I highly doubt it.
Can we give it a while before we have to listen to him again?
I hate covering that. It is boring. He is boring and he is stupid. Like I say, not recognising how you're being used as a stooge just makes me sigh. You're like, oh. Of course, you're going to be the most popular of all, aren't you? With you being the most useful of the useful idiots. So he's propped up probably more than most of them. I don't actually know. Either way, like I say, I can only grin at knowing how useful an idiot he is. And our own side. Yeah? Let's stop taking it so seriously. Yeah, Jaren, you're a useful idiot, mate. Well done for putting yourself in that position. Well done. Yeah? You've been propped up and promoted to a point where you can assume antipodal positioning just like Dave McKeegan. You are as useful an idiot as Dave McKeegan. Well done. Yeah, we know what it is. We've identified the fallacy. We've identified the main stooges who need to beg the question for Duffy. Duffy's been highlighted as using a map in false dichotomy that was debunked 10 years ago. That's not a flat Earth map. This is a cluster screw of epic proportions.
Well, he claims that we're running. We're running for cover.
We're covering it. We're covering it and detailing the fallacies. I asked Will Duffy directly for his hypothesis and he hasn't given it me. And they're suggesting we're running. Now, proactively asked Duffy for his experimental validation that he'd be offering because he's called it an experiment. It's a hypothesis, actualization, otherwise known as experiment. That's what it's titled. Where is it? Oh, maybe I'll get it from one of his numpty secretaries. What's the words I'm looking for when we have somebody defending Duffy in the comments when he's asked a direct question? Oh, yeah! Another useful idiot! I love it. Let's just sit around pointing out how stupid they are. Because they are. Oh, we're running, are we? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're running. Yeah, I've already tracked the sun. Disproved your map. Where's the flat Earth map being used? You're running! No, I'm making a direct criticism. Where's the flat Earth map? You said it was. You're frauds. Okay, so we're running while we accuse you of fraud. You said it's a flat Earth map. Dave said it's a flat Earth map. It better damn well be a flat Earth map. Not a globe map. Not a globe projection. That's not a flat Earth map. It doesn't matter what Dave the fraud, true earther, could be a really big ball, says in his app. It's fraud.
It's not that we're running. It's that we're exposing them for being just what they are. Morons.
I'm outright calling this fraud. So is that me running? Let's see if they address that. Hey, QE.
Nathan, there's an old...
Yeah, go ahead and thumb through that video that you just had up to a screenshot. Where's Wally added some scientific vigor to the final experiment?
It moves from the right to the left. So to fake the footage in the Arctic would mean then we'd have poll was won by Dave Weiss, aka Flat Earth Dave.
Another fraud. Dave has recently come out and said, I am not a flat earther, I am a true earther. He has also said, quote, it could be a really big ball. End quote, Dave Weiss. So you're sending the frauds and scammers down to represent us, to be useful idiots and beg the question of antipodal assumption on our behalf. Okay. At least we all know what the score is. We're telling you what the score is.
He's promptly rejected the offer, although he's since appeared a few days later on InfoWars arguing that the 24-hour sun is all fake and that we can't go there.
Isn't it weird that no one has circumnavigated south? Isn't it weird that they faked the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Isn't it weird that there's camcorder, there's webcams in Antarctica where that you can watch the shadows go around, it's going, and then all of a sudden, it skips 8 hours.
Which is...
Hold on. I was preemptively, I was critical of Dave. Nothing Dave said was wrong. Every single point was valid. Isn't it interesting that we don't have 24-hour footage of the sun in Antarctica? That's his point. Yeah, that's very interesting. Given that I can achieve it in the north, if it's that common of an occurrence, and it must be that common of an occurrence for your ball reification, then I can do it at the drop of a hat with very little advertising on an unknown channel on a hangout from the comfort of my own seat with absolutely zero chance of it being frauded by the guy popping up every now and again and going, there's the sun above the horizon again for 24 hours. That's easy. But yeah, it is interesting that this true earther could be a really big baller, says that these footages have been fiddled with and don't show a 24-hour sun. And the ones that do have got blatant edits in them that are doctored and frauded. So I don't see how this is critical. I can't criticise Dave for anything he just said.
It's laughable.
Dave Weiss, that is. It could be a really big ball, Dave Weiss.
The offer has since been passed on to Jaren from Jeranism, who does actually seem to be considering it, but he's stipulated he doesn't want to go by himself. He wants another flat earther to go, namely Austin Whitsitt. Will has tried to accommodate this request by stating that Austin could take Will's place on the trip, so Will would then be paying for me, Jaren, and Austin to go. However, Austin...
Wow, that sounds like a really good bro trip. Iron up and eat your heart out.
Seems to have turned down that offer and seems adamant that he should...
Jeranism. Duffy has to go with us. Drop McKeegan and Duffy goes with us. Do you understand that? At Jeranism, Duffy has to go with us. Drop McKeegan and Duffy will go with us. No, you need, no, it's it. You need Dave McKeegan to go for the ball side of the antipodal assumption. He's a useful idiot. You can't get rid of the useful idiot. Because if just you and the moderator and Jaren are there, who's going to assume antipodal positioning on behalf of the ball? You need Dave for that.
Take my spot and that he, Jaren, and Will should go instead. Now, there has been a bit of an update since I recorded this video. The other day, Austin had a debate with Professor Dave, and during which he was asked about whether he was going to Antarctica or not.
Why do you have to misrepresent the person he debated? He debated a guy called Dave Farina from the Professor Dave Explains YouTube channel. You've just called him Professor Dave. No, he's not a professor. You don't have to lie on behalf of the other scumbags in your own community, Dave McKeegan. His YouTube channel is called Professor Dave Explains. Don't call him Professor Dave. Yeah? Don't steal false valor on behalf of one of your cohort scumbags.
And he seems to have suggested that he will.
Okay. I said if it's honest, I'll go. I'm not scared of the truth, dude. I'm a flat earther because you can go see mountains from hundreds of miles away consistently. It doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up. So anyway, and
can I bring it back?
I don't know how that's going to manifest, but as of now, it looks like it could be me and Jaren going with, I guess, Dave McKeegan or something. But
well, I give you.
And when we don't see the 24-hour sun,
there's other quartering is just talking straight through the top of Whitsitt. Great hosting.
Although currently nothing's official. Now let's get into where flat earthers have been trying to dismiss the final experiment because they say that Will is a liar.
Sorry, we have been covering this for quite some time. Now, I have said on no less than 5 separate occasions that Will has not provided us with a hypothesis to actualise. Why would you need to give us a hypothesis to actualise? Because that's what an experiment is. He's got his stooges. They're so aware of our actual objections that he's got one of his stooges offering it to us on his behalf in our live chat. So it's not like you're not acutely aware of what I've asked Duffy for, is it? But it's because we call Duffy a liar. He is a liar. He's been proven a liar. He's a self-confessed liar. This is a non-issue. He is a liar.
Now, this came about because
because he's a liar and he's self-confessed to it, and there's multiple examples, both old and new, of him lying.
Bits of information about the final experiment were all done anonymously.
No, recently he said that he'd only come across the subject in 2021 when he came across a Facebook post. Then he's shown to be working with shows that are covering Flat Earth years prior. He's just a liar. There's no other way to describe it. And shout out to Banjo, who was the one that exposed this, where he showed where Will was and what was being covered at those times, when according to Will, he had no awareness of Flat Earth. Liar! Did he have a day off on the day that the shows were covering Flat Earth? No, just a liar.
It wasn't until after the full concept and the list of who was invited to...
Who cares? All that you need to do, Dave McKeegan, is assume antipodal positioning. Know your place as a useful idiot.
Take part had all been unveiled, that Will then revealed himself to be the one behind it.
Who cares? Antipodal assumptions. You're there to assume them. Jaren's there to tolerate them. That's it.
However, prior to this, he'd appeared on a different channel where he'd actually brought up talk of the final experiment, and the host had asked,
experiment? So we're going to get some validation of the hypothesis that's going to be actualized for this experiment? You've just used the word again.
If he knew who was behind it, and he said he didn't.
Okay, do you think I give a crap who's behind the experiment? It doesn't matter. You know, if it's validated, you might get to put your name to it. If an experiment is validated, we're not at that stage. Whose name's on the door is irrelevant. What's the method? That's what we're asking. Oh, it's whether or not Duffy's a liar. No.
Nathan.
Go ahead.
14 minutes. You might have already went over this. I don't know if you've seen what was on screen. It's at 14 minutes if you want to stop. He's just going to go on and on about nonsense.
Individuals are fully expecting to see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. We'd never get away with that on the globe argument. I mean, Where's Wally has already...
Yep, got it up.
I can't see it. Is it on screen?
Yes, it's on screen if you go to the live stream.
So there's Where's Wally. He's added scientific rigor. Did you already go over this?
No, I can't quite read it. It's too small on my screen.
You gotta make it big.
I can't. That's as big as it goes. I mean, I can make it bigger, but it won't make any difference for me. I can't see it bigger. Can you get it up and can you read it?
You want me to read it?
Yeah. Please.
This is create hypothesis, step 3 from Where's Wally. As near the solstice in December 2024, the sun will always be above the sun's GP located at or very near the Tropic of Capricorn. Alternative hypothesis is that the Earth rotates once per 24-hour around the axis from North Pole to South Pole. Union Glacier at 80 degrees south is just 10 degrees from the pole, and as the tilt of the Earth is 23.5 degrees, the sun's elevation should always be between approximately 13.5 degrees and 33.5 degrees to the horizontal. Then he has the alternative hypothesis states the sun's elevation angle remains within that range. Additionally, the sun will be visible for 24 hours continuously, while physically remaining above the GP of the sun. Additionally, caret 2, the measured rate of the change of the azimuth angle will be 15 degrees per hour every hour. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, we're going to go through this step by step and just rip it a new one. Why is Wally providing me with a hypothesis that Duffy was asked for and Dave McKeegan's covering? Could it be that it's acutely aware in the Globe community what we've asked for of Duffy and he hasn't provided? This is what we get. So everyone around Duffy knows I've asked him. Here's an example of an answer not from Duffy. Anybody else not seeing red flags here? Nice white knighting. I'm sure this other useful idiot, that would be Where's Wally, didn't realise just how useful it would be for us when he provided this garbage. Can you go through it again, QE? And we'll just break it down step by step, if you don't mind.
We'll start from the top. We didn't get to the other train wreck hypothesis yet. At the top, create hypothesis. As near the solstice in December 2024, the sun will always be above the sun's GP.
Right, number one, that sentence makes no sense. Now, as I understand it, when you are exercising the scientific method, step 1 would be the observed phenomena. From that sentence, other than describing ground positions, which would require a flat plane, what does that say? It doesn't mean anything, and it makes no sense. The sun will be above its GP. What, the sun will always be above its ground position? Yeah, that's profound. Okay, yeah. If you're below the sun, it's always above you. That's what he's saying with that sentence, basically, isn't he? Meaningless. Right, next.
Alternative hypothesis is that the Earth rotates once per 24-hour around the axis from North Pole to South Pole.
Right, axis. Axis as in the description that would require a horizontal plane to describe it mathematically.
Yeah, that's one problem. The other problem is that this isn't a scientific hypothesis, for crying out loud.
Well, as you've said it now, I was going to wait till you got to the second alternative hypothesis. Is it just me? Or has this got alternative hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis? Is that just me?
No, it's not you. He's
Where in Crazyland do we ever say what we'll need for it to be a validated hypothesis is an alternative hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis? What kind of crackpot craziness is this that is being offered because I've asked Duffy for a hypothesis? His stooge seems to recognise the importance of it to formulate this. Dave seems to recognise the importance of it to present it to his audience. Duffy, nothing. Good job, useful idiots. Duffy picked well. Right, carry on. We'll get to the flat Earth measuring
for the
bits.
alternative hypothesis right here, I'd like to see the independent and dependent variable in alternative hypothesis. Now, I don't know if it ends at South Pole, period, because it goes on. Union Glacier at 80 degrees south is just 10 degrees from the pole, and as the tilt of the Earth is 23.5 degrees, the sun's elevation should always be between approximately 13.5 degrees and 33.5 degrees to the horizontal.
Flat Earth proven in that statement. All of these degree measurements are angles off a flat plane. The 23-degree tilt is described with respect to a flat plane, and he's describing it all with respect to the horizontal. It's a cluster screw as a sentence, but the details of the degrees are with respect to horizontal. They're angle measurements off a flat Earth. And Dave himself, I mean, I wonder if Dave, after this, we've already covered it, so he doesn't. We know he doesn't. But Dave's already pointed out you can't get a triangle on a globe. But yeah, are all these descriptions of triangles going to be used on a globe, Dave? You know, this seems self-defeating when you've already admitted that you can't get triangles on a globe. Why are you using them then? Oh, so we can come along and point out the flat Earth proof in this non-Will Duffy hypothesis. Because obviously Will Duffy's clearly concerned with what we say as flat earthers when his little minion stooge useful idiots start answering questions he can't answer personally. So it's obvious that everyone in your community knows you've not answered this, Will. Just brush it under the rug, son. The useful idiots will deal with it, and we'll call you out for being a fraud and employing useful idiots to answer questions you find troubling. Like, what are you going to actualize in your experiment? It's a hypothesis actualization, right? Where's the hypothesis? Do we take this crap from Wally? Carry on, Kiwi.
Tilt of the Earth is 23.5 degrees. Did you demonstrate that yet? Back in the question. It's stupidity. It's not a scientific hypothesis. You'd fail 5th grade general science, Wally. And Twiangles. If you didn't catch that, you would also fail 5th grade general science. Now on to the alternative hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis states the sun's elevation angle remains within that range.
Doesn't want to say it. Will remain within what range? A range that can only be measured off a flat Earth, Wally?
Additionally, I guess this is in addition to the alternative hypothesis. I don't know. Additionally, the sun will be visible for 24 hours continuously while physically remaining above the GP of the sun.
So the sun will remain above the ground the sun is above at all times. It will never be above a bit that it's not above.
Additionally squared, the measured... Hold on.
Did you say additionally squared?
He has a carrot and a 2. Anyway, additionally, the measured rate of change of the azimuth angle, will be 15 degrees per hour.
Let's not go too fast. What's an azimuth angle?
Yeah.
A flat Earth measurement.
Wally, you're using loads of flat Earth measurements. I mean, I'm not going to take this as read that this is Will Duffy's response that you're giving him on behalf of a man that can't seem to formulate a hypothesis for an experiment he's claiming he's doing. Nevertheless, it's just useful for me to point out that, number one, you're really stupid. Number two, you're a useful idiot. Number three, it really makes it glaring that Will knows we're asking for this and isn't giving it. You are. Carry on.
This is the last sentence. The measured rate of change of the azimuth angle will be 15 degrees per hour every hour. Thanks, Bob, in parentheses.
15 degrees an hour with respect to a flat plane.
Yeah, the title of the video is The Final Experiment. Where's Wally's suggestion for improvement is add simple scientific rigor.
Yeah, he's asking because I asked Will Duffy for a hypothesis, and then, like I say, I already had this string of replies from Will. No, it wasn't from Will. It was from this guy. But at least the community is aware of what Will's ignoring and is being answered on his behalf by his useful idiot stooges. Now everybody's aware of the importance of having a hypothesis if you're going to lend scientific validity to an experiment. It would be absolutely required. Some of them know, and Will Duffy knows because I've asked him personally, haven't I? But meanwhile, it's whether or not Will's a liar. No, that's not what we're covering, Dave. Maybe you should pay a bit more attention to what we actually cover. Yeah, I'm definitely done this time. I'm not going to cover any more of this boring crap. Did you all enjoy that? Wasn't that wonderful?
Just 5 more months of this?
Well, I don't mind. 5 more months of me saying, where's the hypothesis, Will? 5 more months of me saying, Dave's only there to affirm the consequent and assume antipodal positioning. 5 more months of me saying, Jaron's had this affirming the consequent fallacy pointed out to him, and he's still going along with it. Clearly a shill.
Well, they don't
You might
even have
wanna
an
put-
observed phenomenon. They're just going out there to see if there's an observed phenomenon. You know,
Correct.
they don't even have one yet.
Correct. Their if P then Q statement requires on there being a phenomena of Q. Now, it's easier for me to formulate it with penguins because I'm pretty damn sure there is penguins down there. Whereas when I point out the fallacy, part of the fallacy is speculative. If you're going to affirm the consequent, you want to pick something that's definitely always going to occur and easily validatable because it's a fallacy to begin with. Don't pick something speculative to affirm the consequent. Yeah, months and months of this boring garbage. That's what we're going to be faced with. Banjo's under the impression this will get turned into another movie because it's got the same hallmarks that the Netflix territory was in when they were asking people to go on that show. They didn't say this is going to be a Netflix documentary. They just said, "Oh, we're just making a little video, seeing some of your experiments. We're very interested in flat Earth." That's what they told him. So, like I say, Banjo's under the impression that this is going to turn into another Netflix scenario. I said that months ago. I'll just say that already. That's why I'm smiling while I say this. Yeah, that's why we've been contrasting it with Netflix since the start. What do you know? It's all the same players. I mean, who'd have thunk it?
Well, it just shows how popular Flat Earth is because that first documentary didn't work the way they wanted. So now they're going to have to do something again like this.
Personally, I think it did. I remember speaking to a guy and I said, have you heard about Flat Earth? He said, oh yeah, I've seen the Netflix documentary.
Just from our perspective, if the audience can let me know, do they enjoy us covering Dave McKeegan? We had a real back and forth tete-a-tete about whether or not we should cover it, based on the fact that it's incredibly tedious covering Dave, because he's so dumb. We're having to lower our standards when we respond to these ball believers because they are so thick, and it does get tedious for us. It's not a challenge. We're having to highlight Dunning-Kruger stupidity, lack of addressment of logical consistency, use of fallacy. This isn't fun. Dealing with dumbos isn't fun. Anybody agree with me on the panel, or do you all think, no, that was brilliant, that was so much fun?
Oh, I enjoy the treatment these guys get, Nathan.
I enjoy it.
Do you not feel yourself? Do you not feel your brain slightly melting? Do you not feel slightly more stupid dealing with people at this level, like Dave McKeegan, or Dave, Flat Earth Dave for that matter? Do you not feel your brain slowing down? Like
I
swimming
get
through
frustrated
treacle.
because I know they're lying, but that's it. Just because I know they're lying, I get frustrated.
Well, Dave's more flat than us. At least someone like Creaky has a bit of character.
Does he?
Oh, he has an accent.
Oh, he's Welsh. Oh, yeah. Well, that instantly gives him character then. I'm just saying specifically to Dave, I want to know from the audience, do they enjoy us covering Dave McKeegan? It's been a while.
I did to begin with when he first came on the scene because of the amount of views he was getting, but he's just so dim and boring to listen to.
Dry, very
Not
dry.
anymore.
Let's have a look. Another affirming the consequent fallacy debacle, says Christian. Nah, F. McKeegan, says Rune. Yeah, exactly. I spent 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the show started saying, is there anything else we can cover? But Neil was very keen because John had gone through it as a semi-treatment in the after show, but obviously that's not recorded. So he just wanted the information to be dedicated to air. I assume I did a reasonable job, Neil.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy today's show, I'll be honest. But that's the other question. Did you enjoy us covering it? So regardless of how brain melting I find it, covering Dave McKeegan, as an audience, did you enjoy us covering it, regardless of how tedious I find it, or perhaps some of the panel may find it? Just let us know from the live stream chat. There's 100 odd people watching, so please let us know, did you enjoy us covering Dave McKeegan? That's all I want to know. Because if I'm reluctant to do it and the audience doesn't enjoy it, then sod covering Dave anymore. It's just too boring. Hopefully the audience will let us know. Any other comments on it from the Discord server? Don't all go at once, you keen bunch. Okay then. Any other comments from the G Plus panel? Hopefully be a bit more likely to talk.
Yeah, there's 3 more videos in Master B if you want to make up for yesterday.
You mean make up for yesterday?
We're leaving early.
Wait, I didn't leave early. What are you talking about?
We had a 30-second after show.
Yeah, we had a solid hour and 20-minute live show, and we had a good solid 45-minute pre-show. So the total, I always aim for 2 hours. That's the actual aim. I want the show to be an hour live. After I've set up, maybe 20 minutes of me starting the recording just to get everyone in the mood. And then maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes at the most afterwards, just in case something tails into an after show. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's somebody debating and it drags out for hours and hours, I'm content to do that. And I've got a very understanding family who are excluded from the space while that's going on. Eventually, they have to be let in. Yeah, I'm attached to the kitchen and they can't get to it. But the point is that while I'm willing to do that, it's become the norm that the show runs for 4 hours. And number one, I've got other projects on at the moment. I can't do that. And I'm exhausted. I'm going to burn out. So while yesterday that I did actually have a doctor's appointment, got some ganglion cyst on my shoulder from falling over about 2 years ago. And some part of my shoulder's exploded through the bone, and now I've got some horrible lumps sticking out my shoulder. So that's what I found out yesterday. But other than that, there's no need for 4-hour shows. If anything, keeping people a bit more keen to get something discussed in the following show is advantageous. Letting people get to the conclusion of absolutely everything day after day just means that there's a good chance that the following day they're tuckered out and everything's been covered. But yeah, this default 4-hour show thing, I'm going to have to, at least while I'm finishing off the book, that's going to have to be, I can't keep doing it. It's just too exhausting. There's nothing else on.
For 24/7 and weekends, but you're going the other way.
Yeah, I mean, more power to everybody who wants to do 24 hours of this. But Number one, that's physically impossible. Number two, you get 2 minimum, often more, videos out of me daily across 2 channels. And if you're a member, you might get a little bit more, but ultimately it'll come out again when it gets released to the public. But there's lots of material that I put out for people. So this whole necessity for me to also put in 4 hours to uncut and after shows, I just don't see it's necessary. It may be necessary on occasion, but today isn't one of those days. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, though, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Hit me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and Patreon and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.